Good morning, welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim Watson speaking on Tuesday, the 23rd of February. So, looking at the euro dollar first, and yesterday we saw quite a huge sell-off of the euro, running back down just fractionally short of the 34. In fact, on some markets, on some FX providers or data providers, we did have a clear hit of the 240, 200. Others just, it's just a whisper short. So anyway, as good as a touch for me. We're seeing a bounce off this at the moment. We've got the weekly pivot well above us, way up here, and we've got the daily pivot just above us here. Now, daily pivot looks like a reasonable chance of being hit as we're pretty much on it, but we'll see. Worse things have happened before, and it could easily drop down and head off for yesterday's lows and maybe the S1. It starts breaking down here. Of course, because the S1 is so far away, just watch out for the MIDI as a possible midway, funny enough, target. Okay, any sort of rallies? Well, we have got resistance kicking in the form of the 34, 50, 100 MA back towards that weekly pivot. But they are hit on a high percentage of time, so maybe that we start seeing a bit of a correction back on the euro for that level. Anyway, we'll see. But for now, obviously, with what we're seeing here, we've put lower lows in all the time and lower highs. So at the moment, the trend is certainly down. But as I say, with the targets above us, it may just change course a bit for a while at least. Okay, the pound dollar. Pound dollar again bounced into the previous lows there. It did actually just run through them a bit. Had a half decent sort of bounce. Managed to pretty much just close within the S3. Now I can give you some fantastic stats on there. There's only something like a 4% chance of it closing below the S3, so didn't make it a bad shot yesterday if you'd gone long at some point. But it's with that as a target. Where we're sitting at the moment, well, we've got the daily pivot above us back towards just above those low highs there in the late evening. So would be a reasonable target if it starts moving. However, there are inflation report hearings at 10 o'clock. It'd be interesting to see how many questions come out about Brexit. So I'm sure the questions would be posed and the effect on inflation, but we'll see. I'll be flabbergasted if it doesn't come up in the hearings. So anyway, we've got the potential of it running towards the 21s and up towards the daily pivot. If it can break this trend line, with the 21s in the way, it becomes a bit of a hard old slog, really, in a sense, because they potential of them getting tested and reacting is quite high. So it may be a hard old slog up to there, but certainly a possibility. And of course, like the euro, unlike the euro, we've got a gap and we've got a weekly pivot up to the upside. So maybe as the week progresses, if we see some sort of recovery, these will be targets. But at the moment, I'm probably more hopeful for the daily pivot just to be hit more than anything else, but you never know. Dollar yen, well, continuing its downward trend. Yesterday managed to get up, catch its weekly pivot, and pretty much rolled over from there. And it's looking like it may even continue to the downside at the moment. Did put a little series of higher lows and higher highs here, but that just rolled in the end. There's a trend line I'd drawn in earlier part that just rolled over, and now we're really seeing a continuation of this downside at the moment. Possible targets are a bit more difficult because we've already hit quite a lot of the targets here, but certainly we could be coming back down towards the on the monthly pivots here, but back down towards that S2 sort of area, and maybe even the S3 at some point. But pretty much sitting on its monthly S3 there, it's pretty close to it, and it may just be a target that's touched again. We may get a bounce off that again. It does tend to close with inside, but we'll see. Aussie dollar. Aussie's pushing up. The strength of the commodities at the moment is really helping the Aussie dollar. It's whether it's just a fool's break, we'll see. But at the moment, it looks like it could push up towards the 200. It seems the logical area now. If it can break out through yesterday's highs, would be a logical point, and then maybe a one-to-one move. All I've done here is measured from the lows of this movement and just applied it to low of here. I'm just looking for this one-to-one move from what we're seeing here. On a bigger picture, if I bring the whole chart in, you can see it's the head and shoulders kicking there. There's the left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So big head and shoulders pushing there, which, let's say, could easily push up to a one-to-one move. Okay, looking then on the alleys for the Aussie, and well, at the moment we're double topping, and it's showing a bit of a sign of weakness, and wouldn't be a major surprise for it to roll over now. It looks like it's touched both 21, so if it does start rolling over and break the trend, well, we could be in for the daily pivot. But if we see commodities and oil start shoving up again, well, we may see some more strength in the Aussie dollar. To a degree, another beneficiary of the stronger commodity prices is the Canadian dollar. Yesterday put in a pivot swing on the dailies there. At the moment we're seeing a bit of a bounce as we're seeing oil head south a little bit. This is obviously much more tightly correlated with oil. We also interesting read last week was reading how some of the huge forex traders are now moving towards trading currencies which are totally correlated with oil or commodities, and we're certainly seeing this with the Aussie dollar and the Canadian dollar. So certainly the logic there of why we're seeing such a high correlation as well. No surprises if the Canadian dollar continues to follow oil from that aspect, from that prospect even. Okay, so pushing up here, just getting just into its 4-hourly 8s here, maybe hit the bands, but it's already hit its daily pivot here on the 60-minute chart, and the 30's just running to the 34, but it could push on up towards its daily R1. Yesterday's morning European morning highs there. It's 137.77. Could push up towards that if it could break this sort of level. At the moment, as I said, oil, we've just bring the hourly picture of oil. It's got its daily pivot below, and we could easily see that touch. So yeah, in due course, that may just push the Canadian dollar up at the same time, but just struggling at the moment with 34 there. Okay, that's pretty much it. News-wise today, as I said, we got the inflation hearings at 10 o'clock in the UK. 9 o'clock we got the German IFO business climate. It does give a little kicker sometimes. It's not a great mover though. At 11:15 we've got the Swiss National Bank Chairman Jordan speaking. It's more of a speech than anything else, whether he's on working or being a single currency in the Eurozone. Monetary policy in the neighbourhood of the Eurozone it's actually referred to being. So he's certainly due to speak at 11:15. Whether that will give it much of a kicker for the Swissy if you're trading it, or potentially the Euro, we'll see. Then there's nothing really until the consumer confidence at 3 p.m. this afternoon, which is a very low rating in terms of the volatility we see from it. So that's in the US, so the US dollar led market, but it gives very little in the way of movement for a long time. Okay, that's it for me. Hope you have a great day. Bye for now.